Including Ouija, Origin of Evil, and not Ouija as it looks like on paper.
Ouija.
Yeah. I don't know where they got Ouija from looking at that word, but come on. What's the film about then?
Well, it's the first Ouija was, I watched it the night before I saw this, and it's probably the worst horror film I've seen in a long time.
Yikes.
It was absolutely horrendous. The ending is trash. The last 10 minutes wanted to make me claw my eyes out.
How far back are we going though, considering how bad
Oh
this,
yeah, no, I know.
how
In this
some
year
of
there's
these
been a very,
things
very
is.
low bar with The Boy in the Forest and stuff. It wasn't as bad as them. At least it was like, it had a story.
It was disappointing enough to get angry about.
Is it a pointless sequel again? Like, is it just something that shouldn't have been made?
I suppose we'll get to that.
Yeah, but in the sequel, basically, it's sort of telling the story that was set up in the first one, where the ghost to the first one. This is a prequel to that, where there's a widowed mother called Alexander. She sort of does seances because she's a widow and she needs to build money, and she does seances to sort of trick people using her two children, oldest and her youngest, Doris, and they basically trick people into getting money off them in these fake seances. However, when she buys a Ouija board to bring in to add something more to the parlour trick show, it turns out that Ouija board is actually full of pure evil.
Of course
and,
it is.
lots of evil stuff starts happening, and it all gets a bit tricksy, to be honest.
It does.
Full of naughtiness. Is it full of naughtiness?
It's full of naughtiness,
Naughty.
cheekiness. But it's so much of an improvement over the first one that you cannot possibly put it into physical terms how much of an improvement it is, because the first one was unbearable to watch. This is actually, it's really unsettling at times. Like I was very unsettled at times. I think the performance for the youngest daughter, Doris, by Lulu Wilson, is really, really scary. I think she's got the look down. You know when there's just a child that you just look at it like in a film and just like, that is scary. She is unsettling.
Well, you already know my thoughts on children anyway, so as a rule I do hate them.
If that was my youngest daughter, I would abandon her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It is a wonder they kept her on this long.
Yeah, I know. But it's
Child Services, have her back.
Ryan Monty, Dad of the Year. Send it back. No.
But yeah, they've actually managed to make a competent sequel out of the trash that was the first one. I think it's got some real scares at times. I think it's really well made. It's there's some really nice shots in there. I think that the soundtrack is wonderfully eerie and it adds to everything. I think the cast are really committed to making this genuinely scary. And I think that they really sell the terror that's getting over out of just a Ouija board.
Yeah.
They managed to make something really decently scary out of a Ouija board, and I think it's an achievement in itself.
I mean, I've not seen the first one. I wasn't bothered. I knew it was a prequel, so I knew there's not much point. And I sort of get the idea. It's a Ouija board. It makes bad things happen. Like I get it. And I mean, I can already tell that it probably is a remarkable improvement. I didn't find it particularly scary. There was a few times I jumped, but it's only because, jump scares it's just cheating basically. Yeah. Even the first one, I went to you, I was like, come on. I was really annoyed that I jumped. But I think on the whole it's kind of more creepy, but I think above all of that it's more silly. I think the fact that it's silly works better in its favour, rather than like sort of plain deadly serious scares. I think it knows that it's silly. I think Mike Flanagan is a director who has done horror before. He knows the tropes. This is kind of his big break into the mainstream scene of it. Yeah. And he's done a very good job. I think as a piece of entertainment, it's good. I do feel like it falls into the category of, well, not the category, but the typical problem that horror people who sort of like the first one are going to not like it, and the people who sort of appreciate well-made horror are going to like it, and so on. Yeah, it's that film's going to divide horror audiences right down the middle once again. Yeah. But it's just it's a peculiar one. I thought it was silly, and that's why I liked it.
I think I just love the direction. I think I haven't seen Mike Flanagan's other film Hush, but
no,
I think
it's on Netflix.
I think it's really well done. I love the '60s pastiche and like the set design around that, and just I think it's a really good era to set films that I don't think enough films do. So like 60s, 50s kind of look.
Did you notice
the aesthetics,
the processing they put on it to make it look more 60s?
Yeah, I noticed that.
They made it look as if it was 35mm. I don't think it did really. They did put the sort of cigarette burns in the top corner as well, which did look artificial. Like you can't really replicate 35 in the way that they did it. It looked a bit
off.
Yeah. Bit of a half job, but
yeah. I think for what it's worth, I think it's got some genuine scares in there. I think the main three cast members are terrific. I think it makes it's been a very, very strong year for horror in general.
And who's actually in the film?
It has. I feel like I say this every week.
Who's in it? I don't.
There's no real
not really any star in it. No, there's no real. The older girl is from Captain Fantastic, isn't she? But I don't know her name.
Yeah. It's Annalise Basso.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Ouija, Origin of Evil. Is it a recommend?
Yeah. And I know I say this every week, but it has been a really strong year for horror, and I think this just adds to it.
Because broken record.
Mm-hmm.
But there has been some. There has been some awful ones.
Really strong, yeah.
Yeah. There's been some fight. Well,
I just love it when you get shut down by your host.
That's what I'm here to do. That's why I sit on the side of the desk.